Ibero
90.9.
Would you like me on both sides of the stereo or on one side?
Both is okay. Well, where do we start? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
And I would like to talk about time, because in many of your works, time and space is present. But I would like to know about your own way of managing your time and your projects, both on the short term. I read that you wake up very early, and on the long term, like how do you organize your projects on a monthly schedule and on a yearly or a decade schedule?
I wish I could give you a nice, clean answer to this. And I could lie and pretend that I have a nice, clean answer, but I don't really. The thing that organizes my projects most of all is deadlines. So, oh my God, I'm supposed to have that thing finished by next Thursday. That's when I work hard. And funnily enough, if I haven't got a deadline for something, I often don't finish it. So I've got a lot of work in my studio that is nearly finished, but I won't finish it really until I know where it's going. Because I think the important thing about a deadline is that it says this thing is going to be finished at this moment and for this reason. You know where it's going. And in a way, I don't want to finish things until I know where they sit in the world, you know, what is actually going to happen to them. How are people going to hear this? Where are they going to hear it? What sort of people are going to hear it? So I suppose I agree to far too many projects, far too many, and then I try to find a way to get them finished.
Yeah, that would be the next question. Like on the fast pace of our lives, on our renaissance 21st century schizophrenic way of life, we agree to do many things and we try to fulfill many unquietness we have on our souls. Which ones are the ones that you agree with?
I'm not sure if I understand your question when you say
like I have, like right now I have like 5 bosses.
Yes.
In many projects at the same time.
Yes. I have a little formula that I use in my head sometimes, which is, well, I noticed a long time ago that it's very easy to agree to something if it's far in the future. Somebody says to you, oh, come to New Zealand and do this project in the new art museum in Auckland. In 2011, you say, oh, fine, yes, sure. What I always do now is I think, what about if they said tomorrow? Would I agree to it then? So I try to think of everything as being tomorrow and then see what I think about it. And quite a lot of things I'm not very enthusiastic about if I think I have to do them tomorrow. I'm only enthusiastic about them when they belong in some sort of distant future that I haven't thought about at all. So that's one kind of filter I use. But the other filter is the more serious one, in a way of saying, does this have anything to do with what I want to do? Because I've done so many different things over the years, I'm always being asked to repeat them. Will I do another thing like that, or another thing like that one back then, or another thing like that thing I did 25 or 40 even years ago? And I don't like repeating very much. It seems easy, you know, you'd think repeating is actually easier, but it's not. To repeat something is actually very hard. And it's hard and it's kind of pointless, because you think, why am I doing this again? I've already done it one time. And when I did it the first time, I had all the enthusiasm and excitement for it that made it work. Will it work if I do it now without enthusiasm and excitement? So, you know, because I'm not a craftsman, I don't have any skills in a sense. I'm not like a great guitar player or a great painter or something like that. I don't have those kinds of skills. So what I think makes my work successful, when it is successful, is my own enthusiasm, just my desire to make something happen, to surprise myself. If I don't have that desire, nothing happens. So I always have to say to myself, is this going to surprise me? Am I going to go somewhere in this work that I've never been able to go before? I remember seeing a fantastic film of Picasso painting on a piece of glass or something like that. It's one of those famous films. What's interesting is that he starts off and he does a fantastic painting, a really recognizable Picasso. Then he scrapes it nearly all off and leaves just one little bit. Then he starts again. Another great Picasso, scrapes it all off. And he just keeps destroying them until he finally hits something that surprises him. And I think, yeah, that's kind of what I'm like, I think.
That reminds me of the oblique strategies.
Yes, it is sort of a oblique strategy idea, yeah.
Do you use the cards in your, whenever in your creation?
Well, I use them if I'm working with other people quite a lot. They're very useful if you're working with, if there's 4 or 5 people in a room and you want some kind of structure to what is going on. Do you mind these cars?
Do you mind what?
Do you mind the cars?
It's ambient.
Good, yeah.
It's part of the ambience.
I agree with you. I think it's always fine to have these kinds of noises. They let people know that it happened in a real time, in a real place.
My question about the oblique cards is, how do you make them, how do you respect the card that you get? Because sometimes you consult it and you say, bullshit, this is not the one I want. And then you go to the other one. And
I never do that. No, I never do that. No, it's only interesting to me if you... In fact, it's most interesting when you think, this is not the card I want. Because then there's the chance that it's going to move you a long way out of where you are at the moment. And that's the whole point, to try to make something that just pushes you out of the track that you're in. That's all they're for, really. It's a way of pushing you somewhere else. Because I've noticed that in a recording studio in particular, or really in any high-pressure work situation, what tends to happen is that people focus more and more on details. And it's very difficult, if you've spent the last 8 hours on details, it's very difficult to step back out and say, maybe the whole thing should be changed. You know, we've just spent 4 hours on that guitar solo, but maybe there shouldn't even be a guitar solo, or maybe there shouldn't even be a song. You know, maybe we should go out and dig the garden instead. So I want it to kind of be able to break you really out of your pattern.
So I'm sorry, it will be like a Japanese koan?
Yes, sometimes, yeah.